gamers, it's your boy Kyle back with some more Game Time with Kyle. Welcome back to the channel. It's a fun little amateur channel where we talk about a lot of video games, past, present, future, I don't know, console, handheld, sorry PC. But on this episode, it's long overdue. We're going to be finally taking a look at some gameplay from a few games from the Bally Astrocade. Now this was something I did a little while back. I'll post a link in the description for that particular video. But you might remember, oh, boy, I'm going to break something. It's caught. The Bally Astrocade. We kind of took a tour of the system. I showed off a few things that I got with it. Again, I'll post a link there. But we never did actual gameplay other than the built-in games that were on there. So we're going to do so for this video. I know someone in the comments for that one wanted to see some gameplay. So finally doing it. It's long overdue. I kind of checked out over the summer. So not physically, just mentally. Anyway, we got some fun games here. I always like these carts for the Astrocade, kind of very cassette looking. The actual carts right in there. So we're going to be starting out with some Space Invaders. We're going to be doing a game called Clowns. If you're a fan of Atari, you might recognize that one. We'll be doing some Bally Pin. This is a fun little pinball game. You know I love my pinball. And we'll be finishing it off with, now this is interesting, on the actual card itself it says the Incredible Wizard. You're not going to see that, but on the game loading screen, or not loading, but the game screen itself, it just says the Wizard. So kind of interesting. So as always with some of these gameplays, we're just going to do a minute or two of each game just to kind of run through them pretty quick, see how they look and run on the Astrocade, and we'll call it good. So why not? Let's stick around and see what happens next here on Game Time. Alright, so for some actual Bally Astrocade game time. If you remember from the other video, this is kind of what the main menu looks like. It does come with 4 pre-installed games, although one of them is a calculator and the other one's just doodling. We'll do Space Invaders here real quick. Let me hit the number 1 button on the console. We're not really going to play, so I'll just do a quick novice. And oh, there we go. So you see it's a little bit different than like the famous Atari Space Invaders or the classic arcade. A little more wider screen. Mind you, I'm playing on a wide screen, yes, but kind of like it. And of course, with the Astrocade controllers, there are kind of those weird looking ones, as you can see here, going back and forth with this and hitting firing with our trigger there. I don't know how I didn't get hit in that demonstration. I thought for sure it'd be blasted away. It's colorful, nothing too wild, but you see a little bit of a difference versus some of the other Space Invaders that have been on lots of classic platforms. Oh, missed it. My Astrocade joystick's a little clicky. My apologies if that's annoying. Oh, really? There we go. But yeah, that's Space Invaders. Okay, next one we'll play here is one called Clowns. As you can see, Brickyard, it's basically your standard breakout type game. Bounce the ball and try to get all the blocks there. I think everyone's kind of seen that. But Clowns is actually Circus Atari. If you remember that on the Atari, it's kind of a fun little similar style, break the balloons type thing. So just me. We'll do 5 clowns. As you can see, it's a little more rudimentary than even the Atari version, but it's charming, and I'll show you why here once this starts up. Let me make sure the volume is pretty good here. That's quite the game. But yeah, the normal game's called Circus, like I said, for Atari, and it might have been an arcade game too back in the day, but here on the Astrocade, it's just clowns. Oh, that's a very good run. Again, it was on steroids. Unfortunately, I can't swap back and forth. There's a quick way to kind of switch the seesaw to the other side, but it doesn't seem to be available on the Bally Astrocade version. But yeah, you get the gist of it. There we go. On to the next. This one here is actually one of my favorites, Bally Pin. It's a pinball game. Of course, I said 100 million times here on this channel that I do love me some pinball, but this is a unique one for the Astrocade because you actually play with two of these. You're dual wielding, so you got the triggers that controls your flippers and everything. So it's actually very interesting. And this game actually has two different pinball tables, if you will. So you see the first one here real quick, saying a little bit of what it's about. So yeah, I'm hitting the left trigger on the player 1 controller to do my left flippers. Of course, the right one here on the player 2 joystick. That's great. Well, those sound effects too. That one's a little tricky. I'll show you the other pinball table there. We'll do number 2. Just me, one player there. Obviously not a drastic difference, but at least it looks a little bit different. And a few more things to hit too. It makes it a little bit trickier. You get 5 balls here, of course, instead of 3, so a little margin for error. Physics be damned. But yeah, that's Bally Pin on the Astrocade. Actually, one of my favorite pinball games from retro days. Alright, sadly we've come to our last one out of the 4 games here for the Astrocade I want to show off. This one's just called The Wizard. It might look quite familiar though. Do number 1. Let's do easy here, like I said. 1 player for me. Ooh, pretty epic. Go! I am the dude, yellow dude there in the corner, going back and forth on the left side of the screen. Yeah, it's basically Wizard of War. A lot of the games very similar to that. I think on Atari there was one called like Dark Chambers. It might have been on Intellivision as well. I think Intellivision had a game similar to this called Night Stalker, something like that. But yeah, all very Wizard of War. So it's kind of neat to see that here on the Astrocade. Controls actually, you wouldn't think so, but controls actually pretty good with that joystick up there. A nice trigger to shoot. That thing's going to get away. Come up. That's alright. But you see a little bit what it's about. Very dramatic opening, my goodness. But I think that should pretty much do it. Once again, I want to thank everybody for watching the videos, commenting, subscribing if you've done so. Always awesome. Never needed, but always appreciated. And a special hello to all the new subscribers here over the past few months. I haven't been as active on YouTube, but I noticed a couple people have subscribed, so I want to say hello to each and one of you personally as well. So welcome to the channel. See what it's about. It's about as good as it gets, so we got him this time. Everybody, thanks for watching as always, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.